Welcome to another all-new Scots Sports Show. I am your host, Tyler Trumbauer. Boro track and field was busy last week, splitting up for 3 separate meets: the Kutztown Mondishin Multi, the Westminster Invitational, and the Bison Outdoor Classic at Bucknell University. Overall, it was a solid week for the Scots. I'm now joined by head track and field coach Anne Carlson and member of the men's track and field team, Elliot Martynkiewicz, to recap this past week. Coach, let's start off with you. A busy week, as I just said in the opening there. But do you feel this is a very important week for your team as you're getting closer to the end of the regular season? Was this a good time to really get on some of those qualifying lists that you talk about?
Well, I think one of the biggest things for us, regardless of when it fell, was the weather. This is the first time since our spring break trip, we saw sun. And we saw temperatures that were conducive to competing. In fact, I think this is the first time since spring break some of my kids actually competed in their uniforms and not just their warm-up pants and sweatshirts. So I don't know if it has as much to do with any of our training regimen, anything like that, as much as it was warm and sunny. Warm being a relative statement, but
yeah.
The sun, and I think that was the biggest thing, is that we finally had weather conducive to actually competing and competing well.
Elliot, how was the sun competing under that? I mean, really, from an athlete perspective, what's the difference from competing with your warm-ups on and then just shedding those layers and being able to just do it in your normal uniform?
Actually, the Bison Outdoor Classic, my race was at night, but being out in the sun during the day was just nice to feel warm and not be freezing the whole time. But competing in warm-ups is terrible because you don't feel like you're actually competing. You don't have that sense of urgency, I guess.
Yeah, you don't have that uniform on. You don't really think like you're in competition mode yet. Coach, let's start back on Thursday and Friday. Bree Dietrich was at Kutztown for those 2 days, an event she knows very well over there, as was a runner-up 2 years ago, and then now won it last year, finished third this time around. What did you see from her from those 2 days out east?
We did not have good weather there, I guess I should start by saying, unfortunately. She struggled a little bit. We found some things we need to work on and stuff, but I think it was a good wake-up call for what we need to work on going forward to winning the conference meet again and defending her title there.
And then going into Saturday, which one did you end up tagging
I was
along
at Westminster,
with? You're
so
at
you
Westminster?
can get both sides with the two of us.
Awesome. So from your perspective at Westminster, there were a lot of solid finishes there overall. What really stood out to you from that day?
Deontay Powell winning the 200 and 400 was great. There's definitely still more there. He's always very aware of his competitors and such, which sometimes can be a good thing when you're just trying to win, but in cases when we're trying to run as fast as we possibly can isn't always necessarily a good thing when you know you're winning the race. So he definitely still has more there. He actually, at the end of this weekend, unless results have come in that I haven't seen yet, he is first in the 200, second in the 400, and third in the 100 in the PSAC standings right now, so it's huge for a freshman. On the women's side, Courtney Parisi took third in the shot put, but was only a quarter of an inch off of breaking the school, or tying the school record, I guess, so a half an inch off of breaking it. So that were a couple of our biggest performances of the weekend at the Westminster meet.
I'm glad you mentioned the field events there. It seems like we always talk about track when we talk about Boro track and field. Why do you feel that is just not a lot of field prominence with Edinboro?
Well, I think as a whole, we have more track runners. You know, our cross-country team is very dominant and stuff, and a lot of our team is there. But really, our only All-American this year, national qualifier, was Breanne Dietrich in the long jump. So we definitely have the people there. I just don't think we have the numbers. So when we start talking, track a lot of times dominates the conversation over our field event people. So
head to Lewisburg for the Bison Outdoor Classic at Bucknell. Elliot, obviously you were at night, but there was sun, as you mentioned there. So from kind of a competitor's standpoint and kind of looking back and seeing how your team did, what was it like at the event?
It was great. Everybody was running really well. A lot of personal bests were set at the Outdoor Classic. I mean, everybody's spirits were up. Nobody really had that bad of a race. It was just a good day all around.
And for you, had an extraordinary performance with posting an NCAA provisional qualifying mark, 14:27 on your time. That's a lot of running, something I would not want to do. But how was running that event? How many times have you run it? Just what was kind of your experiences with it going in?
That was my second 5K of the season. In the past, I've run multiple 5Ks throughout track. It's kind of my preferred event on the track. It was a great time to set, and it was awesome to be able to set a NCAA qualifying mark. That's the first time I've ever done that. I would have liked to set a little bit faster to get my name up on the list a little higher. Hopefully it won't go too poorly and I'll be able to get into the national meet, but we will see as things come along.
Yeah, are you going to get another shot to maybe better that? Is there going to be another 5K this season?
No, I'm probably going to run a 10K in 2 weeks when we go to Hillsdale. Just we feel that would be a better event for me to qualify for nationals in.
Gotcha. Now, Coach, we always talk about this week after week because it seems like you're here every week. And we talk about these qualifying marks and provisional qualifying marks, and for a lot of people that's confusing. It was for me when I first got to college here covering it, so let's kind of just color in the lines there.
All right, to qualify for the national meet at Division II level, we have two different standards. We have the automatic qualifying standard, which obviously means you automatically go. Mm-hmm. Then we have the provisional qualifying standard, which, as we call it, getting your name on the list. And there is a list of all then the provisional qualifying standards, and when the season ends, or at least the regular season ends, mm-hmm. They take the national qualifiers, and then they go through the list and work their way down the provisional qualifiers to get the rest of the people that are going to go to meet their numbers. So unfortunately or fortunately, the way we do it, there isn't a set number. There is a preferred minimum, but there is no set number of people they will take. So we never know for sure until that final list comes out.
Gotcha. And that's the same way when we talk about PSAC provisionals.
PSAC qualifying is just a set standard.
Just
if you
hit
the standard, you go to the conference meet, yes.
Okay, so that's a little bit
a little
less
more
gray
confusing,
area
yes.
there for the PSAC. So a solid few days for Boro track and field, mixing it all up. Now we're coming back together for the Slippery Rock Open, not to be confused with the SRU Open. So what are the thought processes going into Slippery Rock this week?
Well, again, we are always monitoring the weather very closely. Anybody mm-hmm. that's ever done an outdoor event and stuff knows that you have to, because that's very important. Yeah. We are looking at 65 and sunny, so perfect weather. We are going to run some kids in events that they haven't run yet in hopes, to get some more qualifying marks and stuff. We're going to run our 4x1 for the first time this year. We're hoping to run our fast 4x4 again. So we're hoping again to see more conference qualifying marks coming out of this meet. This will be the last chance for most of our athletes to qualify for the conference meet, as everyone will not go to Hillsdale the next week. Gotcha.
Elliot, for you, what's kind of the thought process going in individually? I know you said you're not going to be able to get higher up on the list this upcoming at Slippery Rock, but what events are you looking at?
For Slippery Rock, I'm probably just going to run a 1500, just kind of a tune-up, just keep my legs moving fast to get ready for a 10K at Hillsdale. There's really no point in running anything more. It'd be more detrimental than helpful.
For you as an athlete, how excited do you get to go to Slippery Rock? Not just because it's Slippery Rock, but because it's your closest you get to home for the outdoor season. I mean, do you get any family that comes along, or do your teammates do that? Is that kind of like a little bit of home spirit, really?
Not really. Running a 1500 just doesn't bring anything to me.
Not a crowd?
Yeah.
Not a crowd pleaser? All right.
It's just kind of a workout more, so I won't really feel any special way about running it. But my parents don't really come to races much, but I mean, if they'll come to big races and stuff, which is nice.
Yeah, that's always great to see. Coach, what is your message to the team now with just Slippery Rock Open, Hillsdale, and then, as you mentioned, this is really it to try to get onto the list. So what is going to be your message to them as they head to SRU in a couple days?
Our big thing with a lot of our kids that still need that conference qualifying mark is we're going to back off a little bit this week and kind of peak, which we do for the conference meet for other athletes, but mm-hmm. to peak to qualify. Because if you're not qualified, you're not going. So it doesn't really matter to wait. There's no reason to wait and peak with a kid that's not going to that is not qualified. So we're going to work hard this week to tune up every little thing, and then it's just leave everything you have on the track, because there is no next chance.
Nothing else, yeah. Right. Very true. So thanks for joining me, guys. Good luck, and I'm sure we will be talking in the upcoming weeks. Coach, you always seem to be on the show all the time. Not that I don't enjoy you here on the show. So now, if you've heard a lot of whistles early in the morning around campus and you were kind of curious about what it was about, don't worry, it's probably from Sox Harrison Stadium and the football team, as they've been in the midst of spring camp this month, and it's going to continue on through the month of April. Head football coach Scott Browning joins me after the break to talk about those early morning whistles and more. The football season is still 5 months away, but the Fighting Scots are already starting their preparations with spring drills this month. Head coach Scott Browning joins the show now to tell us how they've been doing and discuss other off-season storylines. Coach, it's been a while since you've been on the Scots Sports Show. Thanks for coming back.
Well, I'll tell you what, we always enjoy coming back, and this is a great program, and we like to help any way we can.
Coach, you're too kind. Let's just start off. It's been a busy offseason for you. Another round of hiring this season after Mike Miller left in February to head back to professional football. And then now you hire offensive coordinator Vinny Marino. How was that process like? I talked to him last week. He said he talked to you last offseason when the position opened. So how did that process go with Coach Marino?
Well, like you'd mentioned, we had an interest in Coach Marino last year. And, in fact, he was one of the top three. And it was time to interview Coach Marino, and he called and declined and took a job at Boston College. And I was kind of disappointed because I felt then that he would have been a great candidate for us. But Coach Miller came in, did a super job for us for the last 8 or 9 months. And when the job opened again, Coach Marino emailed me and called me, and we hooked up again. And he assured me this time that that he would interview for the position, and if offered the position, he would accept. So it's really worked out well for us.
Yeah, he did say that even after taking the BC job, he kept thinking to himself, did I make the right decision? So he was very excited to hear that it opened back up this offseason. For you, you've been around a long time with Edinboro football. Lately, that position's just kind of been a revolving door. Do you have any explanation for that?
Well, I think that the people, when you look at the people that we've had, they've all left for better jobs or something that they've had more interest in. And same thing. We're going to be faced probably with Coach Marino. He'll come. He'll do a great job. And, the better job he does, probably the sooner he'll leave and be offered another position at another school. And hopefully we keep him around here and have a little bit of continuity for a number of years. But he's a heck of a football coach. And so he's going to have opportunity as well.
Yeah, definitely. So moving on into some other offseason storylines, a lot of them are going to surround the offense, which with him coming in, it's going to be the first time in about a decade that Harris is not going to be under center. You ran out of that family tree there, Coach. So a quarterback competition looks to start its way here in spring camp with sophomore Jake Sisson and John Gervin returning to the program. What are the early things you've seen from them in just a few practices this month?
Well, first of all, they're learning kind of a new system, if you will. In the same token, it's been the system that we've used here in the past. So Gervin's got a year under his belt with that system. And but with that being said, of course, Coach Marino is going to bring in his own certain plays here and there, and he's going to put his flavor in the offense. But I'm really excited about both quarterbacks. I think that they've grown each day. I think they've showed great improvement. Obviously John Gervin's a big guy that has a strong arm, and not to say that Jake doesn't, because he has a nice arm as well and a little bit more maybe mobility. But we're excited about both quarterbacks.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be something to watch unfold as the offseason goes along and we get closer to September. Other things offensively, the running game, that's something Marino says he really wants to get back to, running the football. Statistically, it was pretty bleak for the team last year running the ball. Is that really the big focus right now in camp?
It really is. We have got to run the football. Last year we were terrible, to be honest with you. We ran the ball for 63 yards a game, and it's just very unacceptable. And in order for us to have any success offensively, whether we're running the football or throwing the football, you've got to have a solid ground game. And like myself, Coach Marino wants to be a balanced football team. That's not to say that every game we're going to come out 50-50 with run pass, because ultimately you have to take what the defense gives you. But the running game is a focus. There's no question.
And then moving on to the defensive side, just the secondary was a place that kind of got exploited sometimes. Defensively, what are some big focus points right now for yourself and for defensive coordinator Coach Bradford?
Well, Coach Bradford, I think he's done a phenomenal job in the offseason. He made some changes, tweaked the defense a little bit last fall, and he's really studied different defenses hard in the offseason. He's making some new adjustments. we're kind of really flipping a new chapter in our defensive look for next year. And I'm really excited about it. I think our coaches are going to do a great job. I think it really complements the type of people that we have on defense. I think you're going to see a faster defense, a more physical defense than you've seen in the previous 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. And I just think that's a compliment to the coaches, putting our players in those situations, those positions.
Kind of cutting back to the offensive side a little bit now. Offensive line gave up a lot of sacks last year. The team was ranked near the bottom of all of Division II with that, and that kind of went hand in hand with the struggling running game as well. Is that something that you're taking a hard look at? Did you address that in recruiting? What is your game plan for the offensive line?
Well, I think there's a number of answers. Yes, we did address it in recruiting. I think, like you had mentioned previously, we have to address it with our run game. I think in order to throw the football, in order to protect the quarterback, I think you've got to be able to run the football. You've got to create an attitude up front, and you've got to create some confidence. And then the other thing is, I think anytime you have a sack, I think you not only look at the offensive line, but I think sacks are normally, when you go back and look at our sacks last year, there were a lot of sacks that really did not fall on the shoulders of the offensive line. It may have been the receivers not side adjusting. It might have been the quarterback not making the correct call up front or knowing where to go with the football. It might have been a running back missing a block. It might have been a tight end. So really, when I really evaluate sacks, more often than not, it's a team effort.
Now with spring drills getting underway, every collegiate football program does this. You're about halfway through it now. What have you seen overall from your team? Any surprises that you've seen? What have you learned thus far from your squad?
Well, I guess offensively, we've got the receivers that we thought we would have, with Colby Hughes and Connor Hollenbeck, Alex and Caratelli, and also Darren Massey, just to name a couple. I'm really excited about our running backs. We've taken Jamal Everlard, who's a redshirt freshman last year and played safety, was a heck of a running back in high school, and he's moved over to the tailback spot. I think he's a very talented young man. And mid-year recruiting, we brought in a young man by the name of Corey Bell. And I'm really excited about those two running backs right now. And looking at the tight ends, I think both tight ends that have played a lot for us, Nick Helmick has really stepped up. I think he's starting to take his game to a different level. And also Matt Wheelock has done a nice job for us, and he's showed some improvement.
So you're at the midway point of spring camp. You're going to have a couple more weeks left in April here to get some more work in before you kind of take a little break and then regroup for your summer training camp. What would you like to accomplish in these last 2 weeks?
Well, we'd like to fine-tune things. I thought that we had a scrimmage on Saturday, and I thought we really showed a lot of energy and come out, and I thought our players were very focused. We came back today, Monday morning, and things weren't quite as crisp as I would have liked to see them. But I just think we have to sharpen things up, and as they say, shine the apple. And we'll put a few more wrinkles in on offense and defense and special teams. But for the most part, I think we have most our schemes in, and it's just now a matter of sharpening and before becoming more efficient.
Polishing it up, getting ready for that opening game, Coach, as we mentioned before. Is 5 months away, but it'll be here before you know it, that's for certain.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Coach. We appreciate it, and good luck and have fun in the offseason. Again, the season opener for the Fighting Scots will be here at Sox Harrison Stadium as they welcome St. Joseph's of Indiana to Sox Harrison Stadium. That's a Thursday night, 7 o'clock contest, which you can see right here on campus. We're going to hit a quick break, and on the other side, we'll spotlight this week's Scots of the Week, hear from the female one, and we will preview the upcoming schedule of events. Congratulations to Elliot Martynkiewicz and Kalet Lenhart of the men's track and field teams and the softball teams for being named this week's male and female Scots of the Week. Martynkiewicz finished third in the 5,000-meter run at the Bison Outdoor Classic on Saturday, as he talked about earlier, as he posted a time of 14:27:45, which was an NCAA provisional qualifying mark. Lenhart pitched a complete game on Sunday afternoon, the first game of the doubleheader against Slippery Rock for the win as the Scots defeated SRU 4-1 in 9 innings. Lenhart pitched all 9 for Boro, allowing 9 hits, 1 run, and striking out 6 while tossing 106 pitches. Earlier this week, I caught up with the sophomore after a game.
All right, Kalet, so Sunday's game, 106 pitches, 9 innings. You're able to get the win, though. Talk about how it's like going extra innings and trying to last that long in the circle.
It's definitely hard to go 9 innings. I'm definitely feeling it today. The last inning, I was definitely really tired. I felt it, but I knew that I had to get through it for my team and had to get the win.
You talked about the team and pulling through for them. They pulled through for you as well, coming in clutch, a couple of big hits, including some home runs to secure the victory. As a pitcher, what's it like to get that back up from your offense, especially in the late innings?
Well, as a pitcher, you have to have confidence in your team, and I definitely have confidence in my team. I know that they have my back as much as I have theirs, and without my team, I wouldn't, you can't win. So I feel very confident within my team.
You talked about you're feeling it, the soreness a little bit today after the long outing yesterday. How's this season been for you physically coming off the injury from last year?
It's definitely exciting. I still feel that my arm's weak, but I mean the soreness is definitely a good thing. It shows that I'm going to be improving, and I'm just excited.
You're out here, you're on the field. It's been a while since you've been on the field. Hopefully going to get a lot of games on this field in the upcoming weeks. But before this, not too many games being played, a lot of time in between games. What's it been like for you and for the team overall dealing with this weather?
It's definitely been a struggle to get out here. It's definitely hard to get right back into things, especially when you're struggling with weather. But I mean, as a team, you kind of know that it's going to happen.
Now, let's take a look at the upcoming schedule of events for Edinboro Athletics. On softball on Friday, they have a busy week, and it'll continue with Seton Hill as they welcome them to campus. Also, women's lacrosse heads east as they take on Westchester and then East Stroudsburg on Saturday. Men's tennis is at Bloomsburg on Saturday. We'll face Kutztown on Sunday. But that match will take place at Bloomsburg, and then we will have as softball again on Sunday. We'll have Pitt Johnstown, and then Tuesday, women's tennis will start their PSAC quarterfinals already as we head into the postseason. Try to make it out to an event and support Edinboro's student athletes. That's all we have for you this week. Thanks for watching, and go Boro.